Welcome back. On today's episode, we get one car running, we get the other car squared away and ready for the tuner, and we got a little update on some future projects. Well, the Nova's kind of to a stopping point of sorts, so here's a little bit of a change of pace. This is the original 93 Cobra intake off of my 93 Cobra, which just kind of sits in storage for now until I get this damn intake back on, then I can start driving it again. But it needs a good cleaning and a repaint. And I have a brand new plaque that goes on top because that one got stripped off. So this is a before shot. It's pretty filthy. It was on my brother's Ranger for a little while. He took that off, put a stock one on, stock GT40. So I felt this deserved to be back on the Cobra. It's also ported upper and lower, I do believe. They're at least port matched, and one of them is fully ported. So it's a nice piece, and it's original to the car, so we're going to get it fixed up. I would show you how nasty the bottom of this parts cleaner is, but if I do that, I'm going to stir it up. So I'm just going to show you it going in. There she is. Just going to put the lower in there so I can clean it out easily. The upper is going to get actually nice, brand new cleaner. Oh, there goes that brush. Bloop. Wow, that is perfect. Look at that. Nice. So I'm going to leave this in there for a couple days. It will etch the aluminum if I leave it in there too long, but this should get rid of most of the paint. Okay, and here's the upper. So it's probably 3/4 purple power and 1/4 water. So we will see how it turns out tomorrow. It's already fizzing up pretty good. That stuff is pretty amazing and eats carbon off like crazy. So we're going to find out. Okay, so it's day 3. We put these parts in on Monday. Today's Wednesday. I also plugged my tire from the Nova because I ran over one of my own sheet metal screws, which was very unfortunate to find out, but whatever. So I scrubbed this one a little bit more. It actually looks great. I think I'll take it out tonight and clean it up and just see how it looks on the other side because I can't really take it out right now. It's going to make a mess. And this guy is still soaking. Looking good. That water definitely needs replaced. It's pretty bad. I think I'll put this stuff in there because this is all, I mean, it's both purple power and water. It's just that stuff has seen 3 engines and this is brand new. So we'll update you tonight. I'm also going to clean the shop because it is just absolutely a mess in here. I mean, there is crap everywhere. It's also a Nova. So I got them out, scrubbed them a little bit, and then hosed them off a lot, and it actually came out pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's going to get painted anyways. It actually looks really good, and the runners are clean, so I'm happy. I'll let them sit and dry. I need to wire wheel the gasket surfaces. Should get everything in better shape, but as of now, it's too close, sorry. As of now, everything's pretty good. So there's your date. Now I'm cleaning the shop. Oh, it is a Friday. I have taken the day off. I need to get some things done, and it's Mother's Day weekend, so I have some plans. Anyhow, the Cobra intake is pretty clean. So I sprayed everything down with acetone, scrubbed it a little bit. The white stuff, I'm not really sure what that is. It does come off, maybe I should scrub it more. So that's not ready yet anyways. The lower is scrubbed and taped and everything, so it's ready. So I'm gonna be spraying everything with engine paint. This is the cast coat aluminum. I saw some pictures online. I think it'll come out pretty good. I kind of want to look at stock, maybe a little bit brighter. So we'll see what this does. Okay, so it's painted. It's a little shinier than it looks on video. Turned out pretty good, actually. Pretty happy with it. That's the back. So I'm painting the thermostat housing and the throttle body. The throttle body really didn't need painted, but it had some dirty spots on it that I couldn't get out, so it's getting painted. And here's the upper, which actually looks pretty good too. Take that tape off and really get a feel for it, but once I get the new plaque on there, it'll look real good. Okay. So now it's time to get the car ready for everything to be reinstalled. So that's what I'm doing. I am out cleaning the intake surface Right side's already done. Left side working on out in the portable garage. So I'll let you know when I get to the next step. We have gotten a lot done, but not everything, because when I got to, well, first when I got to the thermostat, I didn't have the gasket, which I thought I did, but it didn't. So I had to run to the store and get that. And then when I started putting the injectors in, I got the driver's side rail in, no problem. Started putting in the passenger side rail, and the back bolt is stripped. I don't know who did that. You know, I've never had this intake on this car. My dad did before this, and then it was given to someone in the family. I don't know who stripped it, but it's stripped. So I gotta go get a helicoil kit because I have everything but the special M6 by 1.0 tap, which is really annoying because I even have the inserts, I have the tools, I have all the things I need, but I could not find the tap. So I'm gonna go to the store and buy the entire kit because that's the only way you can get these things basically. So off I go. Welcome back. It's a new day. So we were trying to get the intake installed yesterday and ran into the issue with the tap. I ordered one on sorry, that was on Friday. Today is Sunday. I ordered the tap. It was delivered this morning. So I got to work. I got everything done up to this point. And then I started looking at vacuum lines and where stuff was going to hook up because I've never hooked this intake on the car before, and found out that there's no EGR. So I had to make a little EGR block off plate. So that didn't take too long. I'm sure my dad had one in all the parts that I got, but I'm not willing to spend all day looking for it. I could just make one pretty easy. This actually fits pretty good. It's just I'm trying to do this one-handed. But anyway, so that's going to go on there. And then once I get it installed, I will put the plaque on and I'll come back to you. Okay, so here it is. Complete, installed. Looking pretty good. The plug wires are, they're Motorcraft, but they kind of fit weird. Some of these are too long, some of them are too short. I tried making them as even as possible. I may pull that one that's extra long, but otherwise they seem to be all right. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna do a key on, just check the fuel system, make sure it's not leaking. And then if that looks good, I will fill the coolant and proceed to the next step. Hopefully get this thing out of the trailer today. All right, so I had the distributor 2 teeth off because I didn't mark it when I took it out, and I totally forgot that I had to do that. But after a little bit of cranking, we're good. Sounds good, runs pretty good. Still waiting on the coolant to fill up. One issue that I'm having is the Holley is showing 10.5 volts, but I checked with a multimeter at the battery and we're at 14. And the computer shows that we're charging, or the stock instrument, I mean, right there. So I don't know what that's about, maybe a bad ground or something. Maybe I need to reset the Holley. But the car's running, sounds good. Nice. I consider myself very fortunate to have so many toys and be able to do some of the things that I want to do to them. Well, here I am again, draining the tank, getting ready to take the tank down because it is leaking. One of the fittings, I'm assuming is the main that I use all the time, is just literally spraying out. So I got some new gasket stuff, new sealant. We will see if that stuff works. I'll show you what it is once I get the tank down. Totally not cool, dude. Coming out of the threads. What's up with that? Okay, so we obviously know that it's leaking. We took out the one fitting. I'll probably take both out just to be safe. Cleaned it up. Absolute spick and span. And now we are going to try this gasoil E-Seal. I don't know how to say it. Specifically for E85 and E10. So we will see. It sounds pretty good. The internet says it's good. Then again, the last stuff I used, the internet said it was good. And I guess for the most part it worked, but that pinhole was pretty unacceptable. So I'm gonna get the other one out, clean it up, put this stuff in there. And then luckily I got everything routed so that I can just kind of leave it here. I'll put gas back in the tank, which I guess I probably should have left gas in the tank instead of draining it, but whatever. And then I'll run it again and see if it's good before putting everything back in for the 4th or 5th time, maybe. Okay, they are gooped up. It's a very interesting color, very interesting smell. It does not appear to be a solid yet, but they are definitely gooped. It said do the first few threads, make sure it's in the grooves. I did all the threads and doubled the grooves. So I hope this will work. Putting it back together now. Well, hello and welcome back. So we're doing a little bit different stuff here today. We checked on the pinion nut. So I know that this is kind of a predetermined torque spec and you're supposed to use a dial gauge or an angle gauge and you know all that, but I just put an impact on there. So this is where it was. There's a bit of a mark there, you can see it. That we used to line up to that mark. So, you know, it moved a bit. It was a little loose. We're also draining the fluid. It looked actually really good. Not gonna hurt to change it. Haven't changed it since I built the car, but it was definitely a lot cleaner than I thought it would be. So that's cool. So now I'm just putting everything back together. Hopefully this gets rid of some of that pinion noise. Okay, let's talk about diff fluid. So as you can see, the color is still pretty brown. It's not even black. There is some metallic flake, you know, very small pieces, kind of just makes it look like a pearl, nothing else. But I did the old bag and the magnet trick. And as you can see, there is definitely some there. It's just like impossible to do with one hand. But there really isn't a whole lot. The differential's not coming apart. Since I fixed the pinion nut, I think that maybe that was a lot of the noise. You know, a quarter turn is not nothing. So hopefully this helps. We'll put some new fluid and a friction modifier and send it. See what it does. If it doesn't quiet down, I'll adjust the pinion angle a little more, but I really would prefer to not adjust it from where it is because it might make the tires hit. We'll see. It's time for an admission. So I've been on TikTok before, as most of you probably have, and I saw a little bit of a life hack that I didn't realize worked so well. So I'm filling up the diff, right? And this is always kind of a pain. I have a little bit of room. I could probably fold this bottle in half to try and like just get it down in there. I could try and put a hose on the end of the little nipple that it comes with, but usually it slips off, makes a mess everywhere, right? So TikTok says if you put a little hole in your bottle, run this hose, just cut the top off, run this hose all the way to the bottom, and then pressurize this thing. It'll just force all of it out through pressure. Dude, that worked so good. It's already done. Took me a couple seconds. Took me a little longer to make this, but I'll have this forever now. And it actually is all the way at the bottom. So that's great. So I highly recommend doing that. No mess, no fuss, just a little air. Nice. Boy, it has been a while. Feels like a while. Feels like a month, maybe. Have definitely not been working on the Nova. My wife bought a new car. Insert picture. Been working on that thing. We are selling our boat. We are selling a few things. But it's just been sitting here waiting for me to do something. So there's the wheels that I measured wrong. And then here is the wire frame for the back seat. So tubs obviously interfere with all this, so this is not going to fit anymore. So basically what it sounds like I'm going to have to do is chop this guy here, chop it here, cut this piece out, move it here, put this back to there. Shouldn't really be that hard. And then just figure out what makes all that work. And then just do that on this side as well. But the other thing is I need to kind of get all this rust off and get it painted so that, you know, this doesn't completely deteriorate at some point. So that's going to be fun. Then I just got done giving the back seat bottom spray paint because it was all rusty and there's no way I'm taking that apart just to spray paint it. So it just got a fog job. So we are running out of things that really need to be done. With this project getting done, I'm going to put the stereo in, which will fill a lot of that up. And then obviously once the back seat and stuff is in, then the interior is basically buttoned. So this top, I believe they call it the package tray, it rattled a lot with my stereo. So I just put some insulation on it. So I did that, and then I put it on the actual metal as well so that it stopped the rattling, hopefully. We'll see. So off we go. Everyone, welcome back. So I'm not even sure how long it's been. It's definitely been a few days since I've been out here. I have the back seat frame cut. I have it welded. I have it painted, and I'm just waiting for it to dry. So while I'm waiting for it to dry, I jumped inside here, and when I was fitting everything up, I scratched it a little bit. So I'm waiting for that paint to dry. I also grab a light here. I also put a nutsert in on both sides to hold down the seat back frame. So that guy there, that guy there. So those are good. So now the next step, just as I did up here, I'm going to put some sound deadening on these tubs to try and quiet them down a little bit because they are pretty loud. I'm probably only gonna put it on the front face here because I don't want it showing in the trunk, even though it may need them because it is kind of loud with the rocks. But we'll see. I can always add it later. It's definitely harder to take it off. So that's an update, and I'll get back with you when they're done. All right, and we are done with the sound deadening. So I had to cut some big chunks out of it, obviously, and try to get it straight, but it's kind of a pain to really get it right, but it's pretty close to right. At least they're the same. There we are. Okay, so I'm gonna go with the seat frame and start working on that. And I also need to put the stereo in. Maybe I'll do that next. It really doesn't matter what order. We will just get something done. So I have been doing more wiring, and I have been trying to clean up a few things. I got the sub permanently mounted. My light here. So there's a bracket there, and a bracket there, and then it's actually screwed in horizontally as well on both sides. So that's not going anywhere. Speakers are all wired in. And on this side, it's screwed into the seat back, nuts and bolts, and then everything is... I gotta do a little more wire cleanup in here. I need to put the seat back frame in just to see what's gonna hit. But I turned everything on, adjusted everything, because on the back of this amp, there's a lot of speaker adjustments. So I closed all the doors and windows and stuff, and then just cranked it. Sounds great for what it is. Pretty cheap system. It's just the two 6x9s, a 12, and in the front is two 6.5s in the dashboard. Right in the stock location for a 4x10, I fit two 6.5s. So that's the update. Gonna start working on the back seat now. Finally done with all that. Before I put the seat back together, figured I'd better put it in to see how everything looks. So we got the screws in the bottom there, as you can see. There, and then we're gonna have a screw right there, and there, and there. And that fits almost perfect. It shouldn't rattle. So I have all this sound deadening on there. Yeah, I think that's gonna be great. Sweet. I planned poorly, and because of that, I had to straighten out all the hog rings that were in the seat that I took out. So this is the aftermarket one that I assume in Tijuana they added, and then these are the stock ones. The only reason I know that is they're super rusty, and these ones are like brand new. So the ones I have in my hog ring tray are like, first of all, they're not pointed. Second, they're barely steel, and they just don't look to be as thick as the ones that came out. So I spent some time, sat there, just straightened all of them out. Now I'm going to work on just making my way around. Making my way downtown. Pretty sure I understand what to do. So this fabric has to go up and attach to the seat frame. And then once that fabric's done, there's like a piece that's like that long that goes up and covers the top. And then the main fabric goes up and covers everything else. So it's definitely going to take me some time, but I took it off, so it should go back on, I would think. We will see. Okay, after some amount of time, I'm gonna guess maybe an hour, I have the hog rings for the first layer complete. As you can see, that's where they are. They're kind of in the same spots as where they used to be, as you can see from the rust spots. May have added a few extras, may have missed a couple, possibly. I think I fully understand that it really just kind of holds this fabric to the spring layer, and then that fabric's job is to make sure it doesn't puncture through the vinyl. So there's the suspension or suspended piece there. I don't really know what the purpose of that is. Probably just to bridge this gap so you don't push through it. Either way, that stuff's really old and original. Did want to talk about these snap ring pliers. Sorry, hog ring pliers. These are These absolutely suck. Would not recommend these to my worst enemy. They do bend a hog ring, but they will kill your hand. I had to end up wearing gloves. They have just the smallest notches, and honestly, these ends are not curved enough. It kind of just makes them flat, as you'd imagine, because it kind of goes flat. So that's annoying, but it's working one way or another. So I'm going to put the last layer on, and then I'll come back to you. Probably another hour has passed. So this was challenging. I have never done upholstery before. I've never done hog rings other than the ones I did to remove and re-add. So this was different because I actually care about this end result, whereas this inside piece I didn't really care about. I put them back where they were, okay? So all I've done is I extended this piece out. It used to go, how did it used to go? Well, this piece used to be over here, so this used to come out and it had a little bit gradual of a bend. So I think what's happened is it's, because this goes further down this way, it's compensated with extra pressure from all the foam. So I took some foam out of this side because it was just so stretched. I mean, all of these look like they're tearing. Obviously they are tearing. A little bit of tear was there before I started, like that's an original hole, that's an original hole. I just don't think it was as tight before. And then this side was just kind of all over the place. And then there's this blowout in the side, but there's literally no material here, so I'm not sure if this has always been like that. I have pictures I can go back and reference. I ended up with a weird little fold there, but I don't have a spot to attach, so I kind of had to extend one. I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe all this is supposed to shift down, but even then, this would have to attach to there, and then this would have to attach to there, and I don't know. I'm gonna put it in the car and see how it looks. I picked it up already from this side. From the outside, I should say, it looks fine. It doesn't look weird. I mean, I will say that these sides are bulged out, but I mean, once it's in the car, you're probably not even gonna notice. My concern is, since everything is so tight, that as soon as somebody sits in it, which probably will be me, that the give is gonna come from these rings down here, and it's gonna wanna try and pull this whole thing apart. I really hope that's not the case. I'm sure it's fixable, even if it is the case, but I really don't want to go down that path. I'd kind of just like to put the thing in there and forget about it and just drive the car. But that's why not everybody does this. So there's an update. I'll let you know when I get it in the car. Ladies and gentlemen, we have progress. So I got the back seat in. As you can see, there's no back seat. Unfortunately, this stuff right here is supposed to go behind the seat back. I even told myself, don't forget that. You know what I did? I forgot it. So luckily this is maybe just anti-squeak material, maybe just a little bit of sound deadening. I'm just gonna leave this out for now. There's absolutely no way I'm taking this seat out to put that in, because this bottom piece, unmodified, takes a lot of pressure to get those seat locks in. So it's gonna stay like that for a little while. I don't know about these. I don't remember ever seeing this before I took it apart. I know there's a trim piece that goes here that may cover some of it, but that's a little concerning. It's on both sides. But the seat feels good. Seat sits good, just as it did before. So that's cool. Got my fire extinguisher mounted. Got my 1967 of June. Yes, good for car shows. Got all that in there. So I'm gonna put some trim in, and I'm gonna call it a day because it's been a long day. So there's your update. Okay, I completely spaced it and didn't record anything. So today I was just kind of wrapping things up. There was a few small things to do on the car. I needed to fix. Well, let's see. I started in the rear. I put the trunk hinges back together, so now the trunk doesn't need vice grips, which is amazing. But I couldn't do that until I got the stereo and stuff done yesterday, so that part's done. Then I worked my way back. I have electric cutouts. I ran the wires all the way to the exhaust system, which is not totally necessary, but it was another thing in the trunk. And then I test fit the spare wheels that I have for my wife's car. She has a 2016 Mustang GT. Bought her some drag radials because I thought maybe she'd want to get into drag racing. She was not interested. So those just kind of sat around, have had them in, you know, the social media platforms for a while now. Nobody's bit on them. So I was like, you know, let me look up the specs. Come to find out, they fit. So I'm sure I've already posted the picture in there. You know, it's a drag radial I didn't have to pay for, or at least recently. So that's nice. So that'll be a good option for, you know, roll racing or whatever I get into. And then I moved my way to the front. So the front passenger side wheel needed scrubbed. So I ordered these. They were polished. If you remember, when I got the back wheels, they only made them in black. So then I used paint remover, got them back down to a machined finish, and the fronts were too shiny. So I knocked them down with a green scrub pad. So I did the same on the other side. I also painted the calipers and the rotors. Sorry, it's kind of dark in here. I already turned everything off. So that's done. And I took one turn out of the bottom bars because I'm still getting some pinion noise. I'm really hoping that the interior put back together will help with the noise, and bar adjustment will get us right where we need to be. So I have engaged a tuner. The tuner is, he's a remote tuner. I've heard really good things about him from the LS guys with the Terminators. So I'm waiting on weather. And at this point, I think the car is ready. There's a few small things that I want to do to it that really don't affect performance at all. So, you know, as soon as I can get some nice weather, I'll start tuning this thing and get it kind of nailed down, and then we'll get it on a dyno. I'd love to see what it does on the dyno. I'm guessing, you know, probably 500, 550. I would be totally happy with 500. Anything above 500, I'm happy with. This car is so light and small. Honestly, 500 is plenty. I know my brain, it doesn't matter what the number is above 500, I'm gonna want to port the heads, and at some point I'm probably gonna want to port the blower as well, just because they're cheap upgrades and they're easy. You know, it's got a set of $799 heads on it, and you can port those things for like $1,000 and gain 40, 50 horse to the wheels potentially. And then if you port the blower, you can get up to 100 horse. So, you know, it could be a real animal with some pretty small modifications to where it is now. Honestly, that would be so far in the future, it's probably not even worth talking about. Money, time, all that stuff is just not there. Mostly time. And I really just want to get the car out and drive it during the summer. So that is the update on the car. I'm super happy with everything. The interior came out great. Or it came out the way it was, which was great. When I had the car painted in Tijuana, I had to match the rear seats to the front seats. And, you know, I say I did a pretty kick-ass job, especially for the price I paid. So we're good to go on that. So the next project, which I honestly cannot even wait to start, literally and figuratively, is the N600 motor. So I have this just table of parts here. So we got all the ECU wiring and everything, the stock header, stock airbox, stock injectors, secondary injectors, the actual motor. There's a tuner right there. Let's see what else. Oh, and then a box back in there. There is a clutch basket. So basically, this motor was taken out of the bike because the clutch basket blew up and it took out part of the case. If I remember correctly, that part was replaceable, so I got a new cover, or I could just JB weld it. I don't remember what I was going to do, but either way, I'm going to make an engine stand for all of this, put this thing together, and then just be able to fire it up whenever I want. And that'll kind of be a nice motivator to get the N600 started, or at least, you know, one day finished. I still need to tear into the Coyote motor here for the Falcon or my Cobra. I don't really know which one. This is the 5.3 aluminum that came out of the Nova that I spun a rod bearing in because I forgot to change oil after I rebuilt the motor for like 2,000 miles. I can't even believe that I waited that long, that I had that little frame of reference, but that's what happened. So it just needs new bearings, and it would be a great motor for any of the things we have. Well, let me just take you out there since we're doing an update. So I got that for $500. Obviously it's not pretty. it's a 4-cylinder manual car. It's pretty rough. It's got a full interior. I mean, all the parts are there. Obviously, it would need a diff swap. It would need a motor swap. It would need a transmission. I really would like to make a turbo LS. I never had a turbo V8 before, and I think it would be a riot, and I would love to do it on the cheap. So stay tuned for that. And in the next video, we get the Nova tuned. We'll get some reaction videos from my family and possibly get it out to the track. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. See you next time.